Hi, I'm Liz Granberg-Jerome from Gypsy Dreamer Quilts, and I'm here to give instructions for the second Saturday sampler this way or that for Quilters Paradise in Baldwin City, Kansas. And this month we're making the Star Spangled Quilt, which is a complex block made up of 5 sawtooth stars and some stripes, but they go together with a twist because you make it in sections and then put it together with a partial seam building around. So here's how it goes. You're going to be making strip sets of your red and white fabrics, and there will be 4 sets. What I did is I sewed the long with the fabric strips together and made the entire strip set first and then cut it into the 4 sections. You'll be making flying geese, and you'll be making these little guys which look like a flying geese, only instead of on a small rectangle, it's going to be on a square. So I'm calling them the winged squares, so that you know the difference between the flying geese unit and the winged square or winged block. So the first sections you'll make is the strip set, and then you're going to take 1 flying geese, and there's layout instructions on the pattern, and you're going to put a square on one end and a strip on the other, and those 2 will go together. And then you'll take 1 more flying geese and put a square on one end, and those will go on the end, and that will make 1 section. Then you're going to take 2 of the winged squares and a yellow center and 1 more block. And this will become the center of one of those stars. And this will be wings, which will become part of a flying geese around the center block, actually. So this is what the center section looks like. So you'll be making this piece, this section, these go on this, and then these 2 go together to create the quarter block. Now they go together around a center square. So this one here is going to end up like this. And so what you do to start is you're going to sew that yellow square on your first piece from the center only about halfway out and leave that open, and then press that yellow square out, and that makes this seam possible by putting the section on here. Then your next section would go on like this, and you'd sew the whole seam, being careful to match up your points where your star is going to have its center and the wings, so that everything matches up. And then the last section would go on this seam. And when this seam here is complete, then you can go back and finish that partial seam. So it builds around. You start with a partial seam, then you have 3 complete seams, and then you go back and finish that final seam to make the complex block. This one, because there's so many parts, you do want to make sure you check that your 1/4 inch is in the right place, because the more pieces, the more accurate your 1/4 inch needs to be. Because if your 1/4 inch is too small or too big, as you start assembling these sections, they will not be the right size to all fit together. So make sure you check your 1/4 inch and build your block around that center, and you're going to have the Star Spangled Quilt.